My beloved one, something is shifting right now, and you were not brought here by accident. This message is urgent, and it carries a weight that cannot be ignored. Archangel Michael stands at the edge of this moment, his presence strong, unwavering, and filled with divine authority. He is not whispering. He is calling out to you with urgency, because what is about to unfold in your son's life will happen very soon as tomorrow. This is not a distant prophecy. This is not something vague or far away. This is immediate. This is real. And you must understand why. There is a reason your heart has felt unsettled lately. A quiet tension. A subtle feeling that something is not quite right. You may have tried to ignore it, to brush it off as worry or imagination, but deep down, you knew. That feeling was not fear, it was awareness. It was your spirit trying to alert you that a major shift was already in motion. Archangel Michael reveals that your son is standing at a crossroads, a moment that has been divinely appointed, yet surrounded by forces you cannot see with your physical eyes. Listen closely, because this may be the only time you hear it this clearly. There is an unseen movement happening around your son right now. Something has been building behind the scenes, quietly, patiently, waiting for the exact moment to reveal itself. And that moment is closer than you think. Tomorrow is not just another day. It is a turning point. A line will be crossed. A truth will surface. And once it does, nothing will remain the same. You may feel a sudden rush of concern hearing this, but understand this. Not all change is meant to harm. Some changes are sent to protect, to awaken, to redirect. Archangel Michael wants you to know that what is coming carries purpose. It may feel intense, even shocking at first, but it is not without divine reason. There is something that needs to be exposed, something that has remained hidden for too long, and your son is at the center of it. Have you noticed the small signs, the shifts in behavior, the unusual silence, or perhaps a sudden distance that you couldn't explain? These were not random. These are clues, pieces of a larger puzzle that is now coming together. Archangel Michael has been watching, guarding, and preparing this moment with precision. He does not step forward without cause. When he speaks like this, it means intervention is already underway. Do not dismiss this message. Do not scroll past it as if it were just another voice in the noise. You were guided here because you are meant to be aware. Awareness is your power in this moment. Awareness is what will allow you to stand firm, to respond with wisdom instead of fear. Because when tomorrow arrives, things may move quickly. You may not have time to question or doubt. You will need to trust what you feel in your spirit. Something is about to be revealed, something that will change how you see your son's path, his situation, and even the people around him. This is not meant to break you. This is meant to open your eyes. Archangel Michael is not bringing this message to create panic. He is bringing it so you are not caught unprepared. Stay with this message, because what comes next will uncover the hidden layer behind all of this. The unseen battle that has been quietly unfolding around your son this entire time. What you are about to understand now goes deeper than what the eyes can see, and it may challenge everything you thought was ordinary. Because the truth is, your son is not just moving through everyday life. He is standing in the middle of an invisible battle. Archangel Michael reveals that there are forces at work that do not operate in the physical world, yet their influence is very real. This is not something meant to scare you, but something meant to awaken your awareness. What appears normal on the surface often hides a deeper spiritual reality, and your son has unknowingly stepped into a moment where that reality is becoming active. There has been a quiet struggle forming around him, something subtle enough that it could easily be dismissed as coincidence. But nothing about this is random. The sudden changes in mood, the unexpected decisions, the feeling that he is being pulled in a direction you don't fully understand. These are not isolated events. Archangel Michael shows that these are signs of a deeper tension, a clash between what is meant for your son and what is trying to interfere with that path. This is where many people look only at behavior and miss the spiritual cause behind it. You may have wondered why certain situations around your son feel heavier than they should, why small issues seem to grow into something bigger without clear reason. That weight you've been sensing is not imagined. It is the pressure of this unseen conflict slowly rising to the surface. Archangel Michael stands as a protector in this moment, but he also reveals that awareness from you is necessary. Protection is strongest when it is joined with understanding. There are influences that come in many forms. Sometimes they appear as people who seem harmless, sometimes as environments that feel normal but carry the wrong energy, and sometimes even as thoughts that do not truly belong to your son's spirit. These influences do not announce themselves openly. They blend in, they disguise themselves, and they wait. But as tomorrow approaches, their ability to stay hidden weakens. What has been covered will begin to uncover itself. Archangel Michael makes it clear that your son is not weak, and he is not alone. In fact, the very reason this battle exists is because of the strength and purpose within him. There is something valuable about his path, something meaningful about his future, and that is exactly why there is resistance. Opposition does not come without reason. It comes when something important is at stake. And right now, something important is unfolding. You might feel a growing urge to protect him more closely, to check on him, to ask questions you may have held back before. That instinct is not overreaction. It is alignment. Your spirit is beginning to recognize what is happening, even if your mind is still trying to understand it. Archangel Michael urges you not to ignore these instincts. They are part of how you are being guided in this moment. At the same time, it is important to remain steady. Fear clouds judgment, but clarity comes through calm awareness. This is not about reacting in panic. This is about standing in quiet strength, observing, listening, and being present. Because the truth is, this battle is already reaching a point where it cannot stay hidden much longer. Tomorrow will not create this situation. It will reveal it. There is also something else you must understand. Not every influence around your son is negative, but the ones that are will soon be exposed by the light of truth. And when that happens, it may surprise you where it comes from or how long it has been there. Archangel Michael is preparing you for that moment so that you are not caught off guard. Because when truth rises, it often comes suddenly, without warning, and it demands to be seen. Right now, you are being positioned not just as a witness, but as someone who plays a role in what happens next. Your awareness, your presence, your response, all of these will matter. This is why this message has reached you before the moment arrives. Nothing about this is accidental. As this unseen battle continues to move toward the surface, there is something even more striking that you are about to discover. Because this is not the first time signs have appeared. In fact, there have already been signals, small but undeniable, that tried to get your attention before now. And once you recognize them, you will realize that this moment has been approaching for longer than you think. There is something you must face now, and it may send a chill through your spirit when you recognize it. This moment did not arrive without warning. Long before this message found you, signs were already being placed in your path. Archangel Michael reveals that nothing about what is happening right now is sudden in the spiritual realm. It only feels sudden because the final moment is now approaching. But the preparation, the signals, The quiet alerts they have been there all along, waiting for you to notice. Think carefully. There were moments when something felt off, even if you could not explain why. Perhaps it was a dream that stayed with you longer than usual, one that felt too vivid to dismiss. Or maybe it was a strange sense of déjà vu, like you had already seen something before it even happened. These are not ordinary experiences. Archangel Michael shows that these moments were not random fragments of imagination. They were messages, subtle warnings designed to awaken your awareness before this turning point. You may have also felt a sudden emotional shift connected to your son, a wave of concern that came without a clear reason. One moment everything seemed normal, and the next, there was a heaviness in your heart that you couldn't shake. That feeling was not fear created by your mind. It was recognition from your spirit. Your spirit sensed what your eyes could not yet see. This is how divine guidance often works. It speaks quietly first, gently, patiently, but when it is not fully received, it grows stronger. There may have even been small, unusual patterns repeating themselves. Conversations that felt oddly significant, certain names or situations appearing again and again, or moments where your intuition told you to pay attention but you moved past it. These were not coincidences. Archangel Michael is making it clear now. These were markers. Each one was pointing toward this exact moment, like stepping stones leading you to this realization. What makes this even more powerful is that some of these signs may have seemed disconnected at the time. You may have brushed them off because they did not make immediate sense. But now, as you begin to reflect, you can start to see how they connect. The dream, the feeling, the repeated pattern, the sudden thought, they are forming a complete picture. And that picture is revealing that something has been building beneath the surface, preparing to emerge. There is also a reason why these signs came to you and not to someone else. You were chosen to notice, to feel, to understand. Archangel Michael does not place awareness randomly. He places it where it is needed most. You have a connection to this situation that goes beyond what is visible, and that is why you are being trusted with this knowledge now. Even if you doubted yourself before, even if you questioned those subtle nudges, this moment is confirming that what you felt was real. But here is where it becomes even more serious. Some signs may have been stronger than others, almost impossible to ignore. A moment where you felt a sudden urgency, a need to check on your son, or a thought that came so clearly it startled you. Those were not just gentle nudges, they were direct alerts. And now, Archangel Michael is bringing them back into your awareness so you can fully understand their importance. Do not feel regret if you missed or misunderstood some of these signs. This is not about blame. This is about awakening now, at the exact moment when your awareness matters most. Because the truth is, even if the earlier signs were overlooked, this message is the final call. This is the moment where everything becomes clear, where confusion is replaced with understanding. As tomorrow approaches, those signs will no longer remain subtle. What was once hidden in quiet signals will move into clear reality. You will not have to search for meaning. It will present itself directly. And when it does, you will remember this moment. You will remember that you were told, that you were prepared, that you were not left in the dark. Type I see the signs in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 314 is now activated over your life, opening your eyes to every hidden truth that must be revealed. And as this awareness settles into your spirit, there is something even deeper that must be understood, because tomorrow itself carries a power that is not ordinary. It is not just about what will happen, but why that exact moment has been chosen. There is a reason tomorrow feels different, even before it arrives. You may not have marked it on a calendar or attached any visible importance to it, yet in the spiritual realm, it carries a weight that cannot be ignored. Archangel Michael reveals that certain moments are not chosen by chance, they are appointed. Tomorrow is one of those appointed moments, a point in time where alignment, exposure, and transformation intersect in a way that cannot be delayed or avoided. Time, as you know it, moves in a steady line. But in the divine order, there are windows, specific openings where what hath been hidden must come into the light. Tomorrow is not just another day passing by, it is a doorway. And once that doorway opens, what steps through it will bring clarity that has been building for far longer than you realize. This is why everything hath been leading up to now. The signs, the feelings, the tension, all of it has been preparing you for this exact point. Archangel Michael makes it clear that this timing is precise. Nothing about it is random. There has been a careful orchestration behind the scenes, a divine coordination that ensures that what needs to be revealed will happen at the exact moment it is meant to. Even the smallest detail is aligned with purpose. What may seem sudden to you is actually the result of a process that has been unfolding quietly, step by step. You might ask why tomorrow holds this power and not yesterday or the day after. The answer lies in readiness. There are moments when truth cannot yet be revealed because the conditions are not right. People are not prepared, circumstances are not aligned, and the impact would not lead to the outcome that is needed. But tomorrow, everything shifts into place. The timing becomes perfect, not by human understanding, but by divine design. There is also an energy tied to this moment that amplifies everything. Emotions may feel stronger, reactions may be quicker, and events may unfold with a speed that catches you off guard. This is part of what makes this day significant. It accelerates what hath been delayed. It brings forward what has been held back. And it removes the barriers that kept certain truths from being seen clearly. For your son, this means that something he has been carrying, knowingly or unknowingly, will reach a point of release. It could be a situation, a connection, a decision, or even a realization that has been forming beneath the surface. Archangel Michael reveals that this release is necessary. Without it, your son would remain in a state of uncertainty or limitation. But with it, a new direction becomes possible. You may feel a mix of anticipation and concern as you hear this, and that is natural. When something unknown approaches, the mind often tries to prepare for every possible outcome. But Archangel Michael urges you to shift your focus. This is not about fearing what could happen. This is about understanding that what is coming is meant to happen. It is part of a greater movement that is guiding your son towards something he cannot reach without this moment. There is also a deeper layer to this timing that involves truth. Tomorrow carries an energy of exposure. Things that were hidden will not be able to stay hidden any longer. Masks will begin to fall, intentions will become clear, and what was once uncertain will become undeniable. This is not something that can be stopped or delayed. It is already set into motion. You must also be aware that when truth is revealed, it does not always come gently. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, breaking through illusions and forcing clarity. It can feel intense, even overwhelming for a moment. But Archangel Michael reminds you that truth, no matter how it arrives, is always a form of protection. It removes what is false so that what is real can take its place. As tomorrow approaches, your role is not to control what happens, but to remain present and aware. Watch closely. Listen carefully. Trust what you feel. Because when the moment arrives, you will recognize it. There will be no confusion. The clarity will be undeniable. And as this powerful day draws near, there is something even deeper that must be revealed to you. Something about your son's path that has remained hidden until now. Something that will begin to make sense once everything comes into the light. There is a truth about your son that has not been fully visible until now, and as this moment approaches, it is beginning to rise to the surface. Archangel Michael reveals that your son's path has always carried a deeper meaning, something greater than what has been seen on the outside. What you have witnessed so far is only a small part of who he is becoming. Beneath the surface, there has been a quiet shaping, a preparation for something that requires strength, awareness, and transformation. You may have seen glimpses of this in the past without fully understanding it. Moments where your son showed a level of depth, sensitivity, or strength that seemed beyond his years. Or times when he appeared to struggle in ways that did not make sense compared to others around him. These were not random traits or isolated challenges. They were signs of a path that is different, a journey that carries both purpose and pressure. Archangel Michael makes it clear that your son is not meant to follow a simple or ordinary path. There is something within him that sets him apart, something that draws both light and resistance. This is often the case for those who carry a meaningful purpose. The path is not always easy, and it is rarely straightforward. There are moments of confusion, moments of testing, and moments where everything feels uncertain. But each of these moments serves a role in shaping who he is meant to become. What hath been hidden until now is not just about external situations. It is also about internal realization. Your son is on the edge of understanding something about himself that he has not fully grasped before. This could be a realization about his choices, his direction, or even the people he allows into his life. Archangel Michael reveals that this understanding is necessary for growth, but it cannot be forced. It must come at the right moment, and that moment is now approaching. There is also a possibility that you have held certain assumptions about your son, based on what you have seen or what you expected for his future. These assumptions are natural, but they may not fully align with the truth that is about to be revealed. Archangel Michael gently warns that you may need to release some of these expectations in order to truly understand what is unfolding. This is not about losing hope. It is about seeing clearly. At the same time, there is something else that has remained hidden, something connected to the environment or influences around your son. Not everything that have been present in his life have been aligned with his highest path. There have been elements, whether people, situations, or patterns, that have created confusion or distraction. These influences have not always been obvious, which is why they have been able to remain in place until now. But as tomorrow approaches, that hidden layer begins to break apart. What was once unclear will become visible. What was once uncertain will become undeniable. Archangel Michael reveals that this is a moment of separation. Truth separating from illusion, alignment separating from distraction. And while this may feel intense, it is necessary for your son to move forward. You may find yourself seeing things differently as this truth unfolds. Details that once seemed insignificant may suddenly carry new meaning. Conversations, actions, or behaviors may begin to make sense in a way they did not before. This is part of the unveiling. It is not just your son who will gain clarity. You will also be given the understanding you need. It is important to remain open during this time. Do not resist what is being revealed, even if it challenges what you believe. Archangel Michael emphasizes that clarity is a gift, even when it arrives in an unexpected form. It allows for correction, for protection, and for a stronger path forward. There is also a sense of timing connected to this hidden truth. If it had been revealed too early, it might have caused confusion or been misunderstood. But now, everything is aligning so that it can be seen for what it truly is. This is why this moment carries such significance. It is not just about change, it is about understanding the reason behind that change. And as this truth begins to surface, there is one more layer that you must be prepared for. Because it is not only about what is hidden within your son's path, it is also about someone or something around him that is about to be exposed in a way that cannot be ignored. There is a presence around your son that has not shown its true face until now, and as this moment draws closer, that presence is losing its ability to remain hidden. Archangel Michael reveals that not everyone or everything surrounding your son has been aligned with his highest good. While some connections have brought support and growth, others have carried confusion, influence, or intentions that were not immediately clear. What makes this situation more intense is that this hidden element has been close enough to blend in, to appear normal, and to avoid suspicion. You may feel a sudden realization beginning to form as you hear this. A thought, a name, a situation that quietly rises in your mind. Do not dismiss it. Archangel Michael often brings awareness in this way, subtly, but with precision. There is someone or something that has played a role in your son's recent experiences, and their true nature has not been fully visible until now. This does not mean immediate harm, but it does mean that truth has been covered, and that covering is about to be removed. This is where the shift becomes undeniable. Tomorrow carries an energy of exposure, and this presence will not be able to hide within it. Masks that once held strong will begin to fall. Words that once sounded convincing will begin to reveal their deeper meaning. Actions that once seemed harmless may suddenly appear in a different light. Archangel Michael is preparing you for this because when truth surfaces, it often comes quickly, leaving little time to process in the moment. There is also a reason why this exposure is happening now. It is not random, and it is not delayed. It is happening because your son has reached a point where he can no longer move forward while this hidden influence remains in place. Something must be revealed so that a decision can be made, so that a direction can be chosen, and so that what is not aligned can be removed or understood for what it truly is. You may wonder whether this presence is aware of what is about to happen. In many cases, those who hide behind appearances believe they can continue unnoticed. But Archangel Michael makes it clear that no hidden truth escapes divine timing. What has been concealed will be brought into the light, not by force but by the natural unfolding of events that cannot be controlled once they begin. At the same time, it is important to approach this moment with clarity rather than judgment. Not every exposure is meant to create conflict. Some are meant to create understanding. Others are meant to create distance. And some are meant to bring complete separation. What unfolds will depend on what is revealed and how it aligns with your son's path. But one thing is certain. After this moment, things will not return to how they were before. You may also notice that your son reacts in a way that surprises you. When truth comes to light, it can trigger emotions that have been held beneath the surface. There may be confusion, frustration, or even relief. Archangel Michael reminds you to remain steady during this time. Your role is not to control his reaction, but to be a calm and grounded presence as everything unfolds. This will allow him to process what is happening without feeling overwhelmed. There is also a deeper layer to this exposure that involves learning. Sometimes, these moments are not just about removing what is hidden, but about understanding why it was allowed to remain hidden for a time. There is always a lesson within it, something that strengthens awareness and prevents the same pattern from repeating. This is part of growth, even when it feels uncomfortable. As tomorrow approaches, the tension that has been building will begin to release. What has been unclear will begin to make sense, and what hath been hidden will step into full view. You will not need to search for answers. They will present themselves in a way that is direct and undeniable. But before this moment fully arrives, there is something you must do, because awareness alone is not enough. Archangel Michael is calling you to take a specific inner stance, to prepare yourself in a way that allows you to respond with strength, clarity, and purpose when everything begins to unfold. Before anything unfolds, there is something you must understand clearly. This moment is not only about observing what happens, it is about how you prepare yourself within. Archangel Michael is not calling you to react in fear or confusion. He is calling you to stand in a position of quiet strength, awareness, and spiritual readiness. Because when truth begins to surface and situations shift quickly, your inner state will determine how you respond, and your response will influence what follows. The first thing you must do is become still within yourself. Not physically still, but mentally and emotionally grounded. When something unexpected happens, the natural reaction is to rush, to question, to try to fix everything at once. But Archangel Michael warns that rushing will cloud your clarity. You do not need to have every answer immediately. You do not need to control every outcome. What you need is presence. When you are fully present, you will see what is actually happening, not what fear tries to make you believe. There is also a need for you to observe more than you speak in this moment. When things begin to unfold, there may be a temptation to confront, to question directly, or to push for immediate explanations. But not all truths reveal themselves through pressure. Some truths reveal themselves when given space. Archangel Michael encourages you to watch carefully, to listen deeply, and to allow the situation to show itself fully before stepping in. This does not mean staying silent out of fear, it means choosing the right moment with wisdom. Another important step is to trust your intuition without hesitation. Up until now, you may have doubted certain feelings or dismissed certain thoughts. But as this moment approaches, your intuition will become sharper. You will sense what feels right and what does not, even if you cannot immediately explain it. This is not coincidence. This is guidance. Archangel Michael is strengthening your awareness so that you can recognize truth as it appears. Do not ignore that inner voice. It is one of the most powerful tools you have right now. At the same time, you must release the need to control your son's path completely. This may be one of the hardest parts. As someone who cares deeply, your instinct is to protect, to guide, and to prevent any harm or difficulty. But Archangel Michael reminds you that growth often comes through experience. This moment is not something you can fully prevent or shape. It is something your son must move through in order to understand, to learn, and to step into a stronger version of himself. Your role is not to take the experience away from him, but to be a steady presence beside him. To be the calm when things feel uncertain. To be the clarity when confusion arises. And to be the support that does not judge but understand. This kind of presence is more powerful than control, because it allows him to face the moment without feeling alone. There is also a spiritual action that must take place within you: alignment. This means letting go of fear-based thoughts and choosing trust instead. Not blind trust, but grounded trust in the fact that this moment is not happening without purpose. Archangel Michael stands as a protector, and his presence in this message is not by chance. It is a sign that what is unfolding is being watched over, guided, and held within a greater plan. You may also feel a strong urge to prepare in practical ways, and that is natural. Checking in, being available, creating an open space for conversation. These are all important. But beyond the physical actions, your internal state will carry the most influence. If you remain calm, aware, and grounded, you create an environment where truth can surface without chaos. As the hours move closer to tomorrow, you may notice a heightened awareness within yourself. Pay attention to it. This is part of your preparation. It is sharpening your ability to recognize what matters and to respond with clarity when the moment arrives. And as everything begins to align for what is about to happen, there is a powerful point ahead, a moment where the shift will no longer be building quietly, but will finally reveal itself in full. This is where everything changes, where what has been hidden steps into the light in a way that cannot be undone. The moment is closer now than it has ever been, and you will feel it before you fully understand it. There will be a shift in the atmosphere, something subtle at first, like a quiet tension in the air that cannot be explained. Archangel Michael reveals that this is the point where everything that has been building begins to move at once. What was once hidden beneath layers of silence and uncertainty will no longer remain contained. This is the moment where truth rises, where change takes form, and where your son steps directly into a turning point that will shape what comes next. It may begin in a way that seems small or ordinary, a conversation, a discovery, a reaction that feels stronger than expected. But do not be deceived by how it starts. What unfolds from that moment will carry a depth that cannot be ignored. You will notice it quickly. There will be a clarity, a sudden understanding that something important is happening right in front of you. Archangel Michael wants you to recognize this moment when it comes, because once it begins, it will move with a force that does not pause. Your son may find himself facing something directly, something that can no longer be avoided or overlooked. This could come as a realization, a confrontation, or even an unexpected truth revealed through someone else. Whatever form it takes, it will carry a sense of finality. The uncertainty that once surrounded this situation will fall away, replaced by something clear, direct, and undeniable. This is not a moment of confusion. It is a moment of revelation. You may feel your emotions rise as this happens. Concern, urgency, even a desire to step in immediately and take control. But this is where your preparation becomes essential. Archangel Michael reminds you to remain grounded. This is not the time to react impulsively. This is the time to observe with clarity and to act with purpose. Because how you respond in this exact moment will influence how smoothly this transition unfolds for your son. There is also something powerful happening within your son during this shift. While it may appear on the outside as a situation unfolding, internally he is processing, realizing, and understanding at a deeper level. This is where growth takes place. This is where awareness replaces confusion. And even if it feels overwhelming for him at first, this moment is opening a door that could not have been opened any other way. Archangel Michael reveals that this is not just an ending, it is also a beginning. As something is revealed or removed, something else begins to take its place. It may not be immediately visible, but it is already forming. This is why this moment carries both intensity and purpose. It is not simply about what is happening, it is about what it is making possible. There may also be a sense that time slows down during this moment, even if everything is happening quickly. You will become aware of details, expressions, and words in a way that feels sharper than usual. This is not coincidence. This is heightened awareness, allowing you to fully see and understand what is taking place. Pay attention to these details. They will help you make sense of everything as it unfolds. As this shift completes its initial movement, there will be a brief space where everything settles, even if only slightly. This is where the immediate impact becomes clear. You will begin to see the direction things are moving in, even if the full outcome is not yet revealed. And in that space, you will understand why this moment had to happen. Type "I accept the shift" in the comments if you are ready to stand in clarity as this unfolds. Blessing code 909 is now activated, strengthening your spirit to remain calm, aware, and guided through this powerful transition. What follows this moment may surprise you even more, because the outcome will not simply reflect what has been revealed. It will carry a deeper purpose, one that may not be obvious at first, but will soon become undeniable as everything begins to settle into place. As the intensity of that moment begins to settle, what follows may leave you in quiet disbelief, not because it is chaotic, but because of how unexpectedly clear everything becomes. Archangel Michael reveals that the outcome of this shift will not unfold in confusion, but in a way that brings a sharp and undeniable understanding. What once felt uncertain, layered, or hidden will begin to arrange itself into a picture that finally makes sense. And when you see it, you may realize that the truth was always there, just waiting for the right moment to be revealed. At first, the outcome may feel surprising. You may have expected something different, or perhaps you imagined a more complicated resolution. But what unfolds will carry a simplicity that cuts through all the noise. And what to do exactly, what with real and what with not, what with aligned and what with display. Archangel Michael explains that this clarity is not accidental. It is the result of everything being brought into the light at once, leaving no space for illusion to remain. For your son, this outcome will mark a turning point in his awareness. You will begin to see things differently, not just about the situation that was revealed, but about himself as well. There may be a moment where he reflects deeply, where he connects the pieces and understands how certain influences or choices have affected his path. This realization is powerful because it creates a shift from uncertainty to understanding. And once that shift happens, it cannot be reversed. You may also notice a change in his energy. It could be subtle at first, a sense of quiet, a deeper thoughtfulness, or even a release of tension that had been present without being fully recognized. This is a sign that something has lifted. Even if the situation itself was intense, the removal of what was hidden creates space. And in that space, something new begins to form. However, Archangel Michael also reminds you that not every outcome feels immediately comfortable. Sometimes clarity brings with it a sense of loss, especially if something or someone is no longer seen in the same way. There may be a need to adjust, to accept, and to move forward with a new understanding. This is part of the process. It does not mean something has gone wrong. It means truth has done its work. There is also a protective element within this outcome. What hath been revealed was not meant to remain hidden any longer, because it could have created greater confusion or difficulty if left unaddressed. By bringing it into the light now, a potential path of harm or misdirection has been interrupted. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this is an act of protection, even if it does not feel that way at first. Sometimes protection comes through removal, through exposure, and through change that cannot be ignored. For you, this outcome may bring a mixture of emotions: relief, understanding, and perhaps even a sense of validation for what you felt earlier but could not fully explain. You may begin to trust your intuition more deeply, recognizing that those earlier signs were guiding you toward this very moment. This is an important realization, because it strengthens your ability to recognize truth in the future without hesitation. As everything settles, there will also be a moment of stillness, a pause where you and your son begin to process what has happened. This is not the end of the journey, but it is the end of a phase. What was unclear has been clarified. What was hidden has been revealed. And what was uncertain has now taken shape in a way that allows forward movement. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this outcome, no matter how surprising it may feel, is not random. It is aligned with a greater purpose that is still unfolding. There is a reason this had to happen now, in this way, and with this level of clarity, because what comes next will build upon this moment, opening a path that could not have existed without this shift. And as you begin to understand the outcome more clearly, there is a deeper meaning behind it that must be seen. Because this was never just about a situation, it carries a spiritual message, one that reveals why this change was necessary and what it is truly leading toward. What has just unfolded is not only an event, it carries a deeper meaning that goes far beyond the surface. Archangel Michael now reveals that this change was not simply about exposing something hidden or shifting a situation. It was a spiritual correction, a realignment that was necessary to bring your son back into harmony with his true path. What may have appeared as deception is, in truth, divine adjustment. There are moments in life when things begin to drift quietly out of alignment. It does not happen all at once. It happens gradually, through small choices, unnoticed influences, and subtle distractions that slowly pull someone away from their intended direction. This is not failure, it is part of being human. But when that drift goes too far, something must intervene. That is exactly what this moment represents. Archangel Michael explains that your son was approaching a path that could have led to deeper confusion or limitation if it continued unchecked. The influence that was revealed, the truth that came to light, and the shift that followed were all part of preventing that outcome. This is why the timing was so precise. It happened exactly when it needed to, before things could move too far in the wrong direction. This is what many people do not immediately see. When change comes suddenly, it can feel like something is being taken away or disrupted. But in reality, something is being restored. Something is being corrected. The path is being cleared so that what truly belongs can take its place. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this is not loss. It is protection in motion. There is also a lesson within this moment that will stay with your son moving forward. He will begin to recognize the difference between what feels right on the surface and what is truly aligned at a deeper level. This awareness is powerful. It cannot be taught through words alone. It must be experienced. And now, through this event, that experience has been given. You may also notice that your own understanding is expanding. You are beginning to see how certain patterns, influences, or situations were not as they appeared. This clarity is not only for your son, it is for you as well. Archangel Michael is strengthening your discernment, helping you recognize truth more clearly in the future. This is a gift that will continue to guide you beyond this moment. There is something else that must be understood. This change was not only about removing what was misaligned, it was about making space for something new. When something leaves or is revealed, it creates an opening. And that opening allows for a different kind of energy, a different kind of opportunity to enter. This is where the deeper purpose begins to unfold. Your son is now standing in a space that is clearer than before. The confusion that once surrounded him has been reduced. The distractions that once pulled his attention have been weakened or removed. And in that clarity, there is room for growth, for direction, and for choices that are more aligned with who he truly is. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this is a turning point, not an ending. What has happened was necessary to bring your son to this place, but it does not define where he will go next. Instead, it prepares him for what is ahead. It strengthens his awareness, sharpens his understanding, and gives him the opportunity to move forward with greater clarity than before. You may begin to feel a sense of peace replacing the earlier tension. Even if everything is not fully resolved yet, there is a knowing within you that something important has been set right. This is the result of alignment. When things return to where they are meant to be, there is a natural sense of balance that follows. As this understanding settles within you, you will start to see that this moment was not something to fear, it was something necessary. It was a moment guided, protected, and allowed for a reason that goes beyond what was immediately visible. And now, as this chapter begins to close, something new is already beginning to open for your son. A path that was not fully visible before is starting to take shape, and what lies ahead carries a sense of possibility that could not have existed without this change. Now that this shift has taken place and clarity has begun to settle in, something new is quietly unfolding ahead of your son. It may not appear dramatic at first, and it may not announce itself loudly, but Archangel Michael reveals that a new path is already forming beneath the surface. This path was not fully accessible before because certain obstacles, distractions, or misalignments were blocking the way. Now that those have been removed or exposed, a different direction is opening, one that carries greater alignment with who your son is truly meant to become. This new path does not require perfection. It requires awareness. Your son is now stepping forward with a level of understanding he did not have before. The experiences he has just gone through have sharpened his ability to see clearly, to question what once seemed obvious, and to recognize what truly supports his growth. This awareness is what will guide him more than any external advice or influence. You may notice that he begins to make different choices, even in small ways. Decisions that once felt uncertain may now feel clear to him. Situations that once held his attention may no longer have the same pull. This is not random change. It is the result of the shift that has taken place within him. Archangel Michael explains that when clarity enters, it naturally changes direction. What no longer aligns begins to fall away without force, and what is meant to be becomes easier to recognize. There is also an opportunity connected to this new path, something that could not have been seen or understood before now. It may come in the form of a new connection, a new idea, or a new direction that begins to take shape in his thoughts. At first, it may seem small or uncertain, but it carries potential. This is where encouragement and support from you can make a difference. Not by pushing or controlling, but by allowing space for him to explore this new direction with confidence. Archangel Michael also reminds you that this path will not be without its own challenges. Growth always comes with moments of testing, moments where choices must be made, and moments where doubt may try to return. But the difference now is that your son is not in the same place he was before. He has awareness, he has experience, and he has the ability to recognize when something feels aligned and when it does not. You may also feel a shift within yourself as you watch this unfold. Where there was once concern or uncertainty, there may now be a growing sense of trust. Not blind trust, but a grounded understanding that your son is being guided through a process that is shaping him into someone stronger and more aware. Archangel Michael's presence in this message is a reminder that he is not alone in this journey, and neither are you. There is also a sense of timing connected to what is opening now. Just as the previous moment arrived at the exact time it was needed, this new path will reveal itself step by step, not all at once. There is no need to rush it or force it to become clear immediately. What is meant to unfold will do so naturally, as long as there is openness and awareness. As this new direction begins to take form, you may notice subtle signs confirming that things are moving in the right way. A sense of peace in certain decisions, a feeling of rightness in certain opportunities, or even a quiet confidence that begins to grow within your son. These are indicators that alignment is taking place, that the path ahead is becoming clearer with each step. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this is a moment of renewal. What has been cleared has made room for something better, something more aligned, and something that carries purpose. This does not mean everything will be perfect. but it does mean that the direction is now stronger and more grounded than before. And as this new path continues to open, there is one final message that must be given. A message that will replace any remaining fear with peace and any remaining doubt with assurance, reminding you that everything that has happened is held within divine protection. A calm is beginning to settle now, and you can feel it if you listen closely within yourself. The urgency that once surrounded this message is slowly being replaced with a quiet assurance. Archangel Michael stands present, not with warning this time, but with peace. What has unfolded was never meant to leave you in fear. It was meant to bring you into understanding. And now, that understanding is turning into trust. Your son is not walking into uncertainty alone. He is being guided, even in ways that cannot always be seen. Every step he takes from this moment forward is being watched with care, adjusted when necessary, and protected in ways that go beyond human awareness. What felt like a sudden destruction was, in truth, a moment of divine intervention, one that has now placed him on a clearer and safer path. You may still have questions, and that is natural. The mind seeks to understand every detail, every reason, every possible outcome. But Archangel Michael gently reminds you that not everything needs to be fully explained for it to be trusted. Some things are meant to be felt rather than analyzed. And what you are meant to feel now is this: your son is not lost, he is being led. There is a covering over him, a protection that does not leave even when situations become difficult or unclear. What has been revealed was allowed to surface because it could no longer remain hidden without causing harm. That alone is evidence that he is being watched over. Nothing slipped through unnoticed. Nothing was ignored. Everything was seen, and at the right moment, everything was brought into the light. As you look ahead, you may begin to notice a new sense of calm when you think about your son's future. It may not be immediate, but it will grow. This calm is not based on knowing every detail. It is based on trusting that he is moving in the direction he is meant to go. Archangel Michael's presence is not temporary. It does not fade once the message ends. It remains, steady and constant, guiding through both quiet moments and uncertain ones. You are also reminded that your role is not to carry fear, but to carry faith. Faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means standing strong within it, knowing that there is a greater force at work beyond what you can see. Your presence, your awareness, and your calm support are powerful. They create an environment where your son can continue to grow without feeling alone or misunderstood. There is nothing you need to force now, nothing you need to chase. What needed to happen has already begun, and what needs to unfold will do so in its own time. Trust that. Rest in that. Because peace comes not from control, but from knowing that control is not necessary when divine guidance is present. Archangel Michael leaves you with this final assurance. You were meant to hear this message, you were meant to understand it, and you were meant to stand in this moment with clarity instead of confusion. Your son's path is not broken. It is being corrected, strengthened, and protected. Type "I trust the divine path" in the comments if you receive this message with faith. Blessing code 1441 is now released over your life, bringing peace, protection, and divine clarity into every step ahead. And as this message settles into your spirit, hear this clearly: what hath been revealed in your son's life is not just a moment, it is a movement of light breaking through darkness, of truth replacing illusion, of divine order restoring what was almost lost. And in this very moment, you are part of that movement. I feel called to speak directly to you now. If this message has reached your heart, if you felt something awaken inside you as you listened, then this is not just for you to receive. It is for you to help carry forward. There are countless souls who are still in confusion, still waiting for clarity, still searching for a message like this to find them in their moment of need. The word says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is not just a verse. It is a living promise being spoken over you right now. When you choose to give, you are not losing. You are planting. You are sowing into a field where lives are changed, where light reaches those still in darkness, where truth breaks chains that no one else can see. And right now, you have the opportunity to become part of that divine flow. When you send your support through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not just making a donation. You are answering a calling. You are saying, "I will help this message reach the one who needs it next." You are stepping into alignment with something greater than yourself. I speak this over you now. Every seed you release will return multiplied. Every act of giving will open doors you did not even know were closed. There is a blessing attached to obedience, and this moment is your invitation into it. The PayPal link is waiting for you in the description, and the QR code is right there on your screen. Do not delay what your spirit is urging you to do. Step into this moment. Act in faith. Release what you are called to release. And as you do, may your life be filled with the same clarity, protection, and divine alignment that has just been spoken over your son.